Welcome to the deep dive. So, you've shared some really interesting material with us, actually. A case study from cognitive market research looking at digital transformation in the consumer goods sector.
That's right. A specific case focusing on inventory management and distribution, always tricky areas.
Exactly. So, our mission today, for you listening, is pretty clear. We want to pull out the key insights, understand how this particular manufacturer tackled some, well, pretty significant challenges in those areas.
Yeah, what were the real aha moments? What can we learn from their journey, essentially, beyond just the headlines?
Okay, so let's set the scene a bit. We're talking about a major consumer products player here, and they were facing problems that honestly probably sound familiar to a lot of you, whatever industry you're in.
Like what specifically?
Well, the big ones were inventory issues. Either they had way too much stuff tying up cash,
Right, overstocking.
expensive, or the flip side, they were running out of things customers wanted, stockouts, which means lost sales, unhappy people.
And the case study points to the root cause.
Yeah, it seems a big part of it was just a lack of real-time data. Their old systems just couldn't keep up. Lots of manual processes too, apparently.
Manual processes. That always opens the door for errors, doesn't it?
Exactly. And trying to coordinate this whole complex network suppliers, warehouses, distributors without a clear current picture, well, you can imagine.
It becomes a guessing game. Decisions get delayed. You don't get those actionable insights you need.
Right, they weren't agile. And the costs, well, operational costs just kept going up.
And we should probably frame this for you. The consumer goods market is enormous. Like USD 2.8 trillion in 2024, expected to hit 3.3 trillion by 2031.
Wow.
Yeah, so even a relatively small percentage gain in efficiency or fixing these kinds of inventory problems translates to huge value. That 1.2% CAGR, that's about USD 500 billion in growth potential.
So the stakes were definitely high for this company. Okay, let's get into how they tackled it. The case study mentions the first step was a really thorough assessment.
Yes, and this is critical for you listening. You can't fix a problem properly until you really understand it. So they did a comprehensive evaluation of the existing systems, the workflows, everything.
What did that involve?
Like practically. It was multi-pronged. They talked to people, key stakeholders across departments, get the qualitative side, the real pain points from the ground level.
Uh-huh.
Then they did a deep dive into the tech itself, the software, the databases, how things were or weren't connected, looking for those integration issues.
Okay.
And crucially, they mapped out the current workflows, like literally drawing out how information and products move through the system, or perhaps tried to move.
Right, to see where things were breaking down, where the data gaps were. Makes sense.
Precisely. Identifying those deficiencies was key before they could even think about a solution.
In that solution, the core of it was implementing an advanced ERP system, right?
Yeah.
Enterprise resource planning.
Exactly. Now, for you listening, an ERP is kind of like the central nervous system for a business. It aims to bring all the key functions, inventory, sales, distribution, finance, etc., onto one platform.
But the emphasis here seems to be on advanced ERP with real-time analytics built in.
Yes, that's the crucial bit. Not just any ERP, one that could actually unify all those separate pools of data, inventory levels, sales orders coming in, distribution movements, and make it visible now. Not yesterday, not last week.
Breaking down the silos.
Totally. Think of it like going from disconnected spreadsheets and maybe outdated software to a single, shared, live dashboard for everyone who needs it.
And the results they saw. The case study mentioned some numbers.
Yeah, pretty impressive numbers, actually. A 35% jump in inventory accuracy, that's huge.
35%, so much less guesswork about what's actually on the shelf.
Right. And that directly led to a 20% drop in both overstocking and stockouts.
20% fewer missed sales and 20% less cash tied up in excess stock.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that's significant for any business.
Absolutely. Plus, a 25% boost in overall operational efficiency. Things just ran smoother.
And better coordination, too, it mentions, with logistics partners.
Yeah, which is vital when you've got a complex distribution network. If everyone, the carriers, the warehouses, is looking at the same real-time info, it just cuts out so much confusion and delay.
Okay, so the ERP was foundational. But they didn't stop there. They also brought in machine learning for forecasting.
Right. This is where it gets even smarter, you could say. Instead of just reacting to data, they started predicting.
How did that work for them?
Well, they used ML algorithms, basically sophisticated pattern finding tools, to analyze loads of data, not just their own historical sales,
Uh-huh.
but also market trends, seasonality, maybe even external factors like economic indicators or, I don't know, weather patterns if relevant, things humans might miss or struggle to correlate.
So the algorithms could spot patterns and predict future demand more accurately than just looking at last year's sales.
Exactly, much more accurately. This helped them anticipate those fluctuations, the peaks and troughs in demand.
Which again feeds back into optimizing inventory, right?
Precisely. It allowed for even finer tuning, reducing overstocking further, minimizing stockouts even more. It really amplified the benefits they got from the ERP system.
Interesting. And then there's another layer of tech, the Internet of Things, IoT,
Mm.
RFID tags and sensors.
Yeah, this is about getting real-time visibility on the physical movement of goods, bridging the physical and digital.
So like sticking smart tags on pallets or even individual items.
Exactly. RFID markers, maybe GPS trackers, sensors. These devices constantly feed data back into the system. Where is this pallet? What's the temperature inside that container?
Yeah.
Has this box been dropped?
Wow. Okay. So you get this incredibly granular real-time view of your inventory,
Mhm.
not just in the warehouse, but throughout the supply chain.
Correct. It automates a lot of the tracking. Think about stock takes maybe no more manual counting or much less of it.
That alone would save a lot of time and errors.
For sure. And the case study mentions it enabled automated reordering.
Ah, so when stock levels detected by the sensors hit a certain low point.
The system could automatically trigger a replenishment order, minimizing the risk of running out without someone constantly monitoring spreadsheets.
Very smart. That livestock movement updates mentioned in the summary probably refers to just tracking goods in real time, like a live feed.
I assume so, yes. It just gives that incredibly detailed visibility, allowing for much faster data-driven decisions all along the chain.
Okay, so we've got the ERP, the machine learning, the IoT, lots of powerful tech. But the case study also really flags the importance of training.
Yes, and for you listening, this is such a critical point that often gets underestimated in digital transformations. You can have the best tech in the world.
But if people can or won't use it properly.
Exactly. It's pointless or worse, counterproductive. So they implemented what the study calls exhaustive training programs
Why was that so vital here?
to make sure everyone from the warehouse floor to the sales team to the logistics planners understood the new systems, knew how to use the tools, how to interpret the data, and importantly, how it made their jobs easier or better. It's about ensuring adoption, minimizing disruption during the transition, and getting that buy-in.
Makes total sense. Technology is only as good as the people using it, right?
Absolutely. And it wasn't just a one-off training blitz either.
Oh.
No, they apparently set up a continuous development strategy, ongoing system, tweaks, performance reviews.
Based on feedback and data.
Yes, using real-time data and user feedback to keep optimizing. Because the market changes, business needs evolve, the system needed to adapt too.
That's smart, not treating it as a set it and forget it project.
Definitely not. Continuous improvement was baked in.
Okay, so let's pull it all together for you listening. What were the big positive after effects? How did this whole transformation really change things for the client?
Well, the impact seems pretty profound based on the case study. We've touched on a lot of it. But to summarize, vastly improved visibility across the board,
Right. Seeing everything clearly.
which led to much more accurate demand forecasting. And that, in turn, meant those big reductions in stockouts and overstocking we talked about.
Which means cost savings.
Significant operational efficiencies and cost savings, yes. But also improved cash flow. Less money tied up in inventory just sitting there.
That's huge for any business's health.
Absolutely. And the better data analytics meant they could react much faster to market shifts, to changing consumer tastes. They became more agile.
And presumably, faster, more reliable order fulfillment.
Right.
That usually follows from optimized distribution.
Exactly. Which leads to happier customers,
Yeah.
better loyalty. It really cascaded through the whole value chain.
So looking forward, how does this set them up for that market growth we mentioned earlier, that potential USD 500 billion increase?
It positions them extremely well, you'd have to say. They've built this scalable digital backbone. They have the tools and the data to make smarter decisions as they grow, to handle more volume efficiently, and really compete effectively in that expanding market. They're not just surviving, they're equipped to potentially lead.
Right. They've built the infrastructure for future success, not just fixed past problems.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive for you, what are the main takeaways here, the absolute key lessons?
I think for you, number one is the power of integrating these different technologies, ERP, ML, IoT, intelligently. Not just using them in isolation, but making them work together for a truly responsive supply chain.
Yeah, the sum being greater than the parts.
Exactly. But number two, and just as important for you to remember, is that tech isn't magic. The human element, proper training, change management, that culture of continuous improvement is absolutely essential for success.
Couldn't agree more. It's that combination of smart technology and empowered people.
Hmm.
So for you listening, this case study really offers food for thought, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Think about your own work, your own industry. What are those complex operational hurdles you're facing? Could strategies like these focusing on real-time data, predictive insights, connected systems apply?
Yeah, and what opportunities might you unlock? Could better integration or smarter analytics open up new ways to serve customers or capture market share?
It's a great question to ponder. Because as this shows, digital transformation isn't just a buzzword. It can deliver real, tangible results.
Definitely. And it highlights that this is an ongoing journey, right? Digital tools keep evolving, and the potential for businesses to keep refining, keep optimizing, and serve customers better is, well, it's always growing.